Hey everyone, thanks for joining. I have a really special guest for you today. I have a friend from the Midwest, Cory Wallace. How you doing this morning, Cory?
I'm good, Mike. How you doing?
I'm doing very, very well. So I'd be remiss if we didn't just start this show talking about your military career.
Okay.
Why don't you tell
Uh,
us?
I did about 24 years in the United States Navy. I I just recently retired and ready to get look forward to a new start. I enjoyed my time serving the country. I will never it'll be one of my fondest memories.
Well, thank you for your service. Doing 24 years is very impressive and deserves all of our respect. So thank you very much, Cory.
Thank you.
Excellent. So where are you in the country? What are you doing around real estate investing? What are you doing today?
I've been stationed in Norfolk, Virginia, and so that's where I've done my real estate. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, and I want to get involved in this area too. I'm in Cleveland right now, currently visiting family.
Yeah, you wear your Cleveland colors proudly.
Yes, yes. I know. I saw you with the Golden State jersey on one time, so it was a friendly rivalry.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, that goes way back. Yeah, that's their stadium is like 30 miles from me, so that's sort of like I got to claim them, right?
oh no, I understand that totally. I, I respect that. It was the people from all over the world that never mentioned them before 5 years ago that used to upset me. So I know I appreciate you cheering for 'em.
Yeah, yeah. I better cheer for them. I got season tickets, man. That stuff's expensive.
Exactly.
Exactly. All right, man. Well, this is a lot of fun. So I know you reached out. You were looking for some real estate advice and all of that, and you found my real estate course. And I was curious
Yes.
what you saw in it first, and then what made you hit the purchase button.
Okay. Uh, I I'm a subscriber to Mr. Landlord,
Hmm.
and your book happened to be the feature book a few months ago.
Right.
And And when I saw it, I said, okay, well, when I read the description, it made sense to me because I was an employee, and it was about rental property, and the your title intrigued me, one rental at a time. And so I said, okay, and so I bought the book, and then when I read it, it made a lot of sense to me. So I purchased the course after that.
Very cool. I love Mr. Landlord. I presented with a couple of times. He and I collaborate on articles and the like, and he really knows what he's doing. I love everything
Yes,
that
he
guy
does.
does. Mr. Landlord, he's
Yes, he
pretty
does.
awesome. So buying the book, I guess how did it read? Right, it's one thing to be the author, but what'd you take away from nearly 200 pages of our story?
I kind of related to it. I remember when I bought my first property, and I was scared. I was
Yeah,
really scared. I I did I did all the reading that I could where I felt that I could,
yeah,
because I read some of Robert Kiyosaki's books also. I remember you mentioning that in the book,
yeah.
and so when I made that first step, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, and then I moved on again and again. And what I liked about your book, it's about moving forward,
Yeah.
uh, because I felt like I was at a stopping point, and you talked about the crash of 2008 and how you kept going,
Yeah.
and that's how the book related to me, because I want to be able to keep going no matter if the market is good or bad.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. And yeah, you're right. Robert Kiyosaki specifically for me was Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's like, okay, I got to give me some of that cash flow. I need some rental properties.
Right.
Yeah. And then I read it, I don't know, 20 times probably by now. Just, throughout the years, just little wake up calls. Um, but one of the things that wasn't there was they talk a little bit about their condo in Hawaii, and Kim talks about their condo in Portland, I think it was, or wherever. But it really
Yes.
wasn't how do you really do anything, right? So that's one of the reasons I wanted to write One Rental at a Time, was because it's great to inspire people to do something, but what happens after that? And that's why I kind of felt like I had to share the whole 15 years, the good and the bad, the ups and the downs. So I'm glad that came
Right.
across.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm happy that you had the support of your spouse also,
Oh, no
because
doubt.
when you talk about your first property tenants, yeah, a lot of people would have said, you know what, this is the telltale sign that it isn't for me, and they would have moved on.
Yeah, I am so glad you brought that up. Olivia, my significant other wife, gets a lot of credit, because if you haven't read the book, I tell a story about Norris Drive, where after a year of doing investigating, we buy a property, and then it just goes haywire from there. And I swear most people, certainly more than 98% of people, never would have bought number two.
Absolutely.
So that was pretty cool. So so you buy the book. It's like, yeah, I like this guy. He's kind of telling the story. He's kind of there. When did you find my YouTube channel? I'm curious.
I found it after I read the book.
Okay.
And after I read the book, I said, okay, let me subscribe to the YouTube channel, because I always want to consistently learn.
Right.
And the minute that you think you know it all, that's the minute that you're in trouble. So I'm always looking for different points of views, advice to help me move forward. And so uh, this seemed, like I said before, it was more uh, relatable, because you talked about working and going through the transition of leaving work and being a full-time investor. And a lot of other times when you go into seminars and things like that, most of the time they're talking at a different level, where they're doing these big deals that you talk about the MLS, and a lot of others don't talk about that. It's like they find these diamonds in the rough all the time. When you speak about the MLS, I feel like the reader, they could do that. It's right on their phone or computer. Is realistic to me.
That's awesome. And that's just 100% I am, right? I have no direct mail. I have no staff. I have no virtual assistants in the Philippines, right? I'm one guy who, like you say, when the wife's out or I got 5 minutes, I pull up realtor.com or Redfin or whatever, and I try to find stuff, right? Still, certainly 95% of stuff I bought was out of the MLS. And I'm glad that came through. Because again, it's nothing I've done isn't learnable or repeatable. And that's what I hope comes across.
Absolutely.
Very cool. So that brings up the course. And I actually never thought I would create a course, but I had enough people over time ask me to go to coffee or lunch, and you only can do that so much. And you can only really help people that are within 20 miles of you, that I wanted to create one. And it was really about, how do you learn a market? Because I think real estate investing as a landlord, buy and hold, is a learnable skill. I think you can pick a market, pick an asset type, and learn it. Did that come across, or did you see that in the course?
I did. I think for most, you just have to get started and keep trying to repeat the process. I know in my experience, it felt, the last property that I bought felt a lot easier than the first property that I bought. And when I continue forward using some of your methods, I believe it'll be even easier.
Yeah, that's awesome. So let's talk about, so what do you own? How many rentals do you have today? I'm just curious.
I have 4.
And they're just all houses, or?
One of them is a duplex, one is a townhouse, and the other 2 are houses, single-family houses.
Very cool. All in Virginia, or did you get one in Cleveland yet?
They're all in Virginia. I'm looking in the future to Cleveland, but right now they're all in Virginia. It's referred to as the Hampton Roads area.
Okay. Very cool. All right. And I'm curious, do you remember that first deal where you were all nervous? What was that like? What was that, a house, townhouse? What was that one?
It was a single family house, three bedroom, one bathroom, and I remember after I felt like I read enough, I went through the process, and I made some mistakes, but making mistakes is the learning part. I I just felt I had to move, and that's what I did.
Very cool.
But I did end up uh, having positive cash flow in that experience.
Good.
It was still scary at the time, but it worked out.
Yeah. Well, one thing I love about you is you know, I think I'm about 100 students now, just about over 100. But one of the first things we do, right, is you jump into that Excel spreadsheet, right?
Yes,
You kind of pick your market, and I don't know what the exact number is, but it's probably less than 25 actually sent me their spreadsheet, which I asked for in the course. Send it to me, right?
right.
So I thought that was, you know, again, it's one thing to click buy. It's entirely another thing to actually do the work, right? And that's what I hit people with is, okay, step number one, let's build, let's do some work, right? Get your hands dirty.
That's correct.
Yeah, very cool. And did you find that interesting or helpful at all? Kind of trying to figure it out.
I did. Uh, I was paying attention to a particular zip code,
Yep.
and I would notice that one day the house would be listed, then it would be pulled, and then they would bring it back. I saw one property where it was listed, and then they reduced the price by 15 grand,
Exactly.
and some of them they pulled them off and they increased it a little bit. So it was interesting seeing what happened, and but in that zip code, as I've been looking through, only one property that I had in my queue has sold, but the rest of them, some of them pending. So I'm still looking at reviewing it,
Yeah.
and it changes on a regular basis.
Yeah. And that's the exact point, right? That's, you have to watch, you have to become knowledgeable. You have to become the man in your case for that area, that zip code, that property type. And it takes work, right? It takes it feels repetitive, but what you're
Yes,
doing is you're building that knowledge base. So over time, you can understand what a bad, average, good, and great deals are. And you feel like you're getting to that point, Cory?
I feel like I am.
That's all. Well, that right there is the whole intention of the course is how do you figure out what a bad, average, good, and great deals are? And if you can learn that skill, only work on good and great deals. That's what I hope happens for you.
Absolutely.
Very cool. Any advice for people that are thinking about it? Right. I think it's $199 today. There's a $50 coupon out there, Web 50. Any advice for people that are just thinking about it? When they should or they shouldn't? Maybe they should watch the YouTube channel for a while. What kind of advice do you have for people that are thinking about it?
Do it. A lot of people they spend money on hobbies or miscellaneous things, and before you know it, they done spent a few $100s. Just if you're interested, take the step forward. The worst thing that can happen is you uh, don't grasp the material, but the information that you give out and you make yourself available to all of us is really no excuse. So just take that step forward, regardless of how you feel about the situation.
Yeah.
I'd rather do that. Part of your book also, where you talked about the stock market,
Yeah.
I relate that to Robert Kiyosaki's book Fake.
Yeah.
People are willing to uh, give their money away for something where they're not sure what their return is going to be. With real estate, you have better control.
Yeah. And if you can learn your market, not only do you have better control, but you're only working on the good and great deals. So you're getting rid of 95% of the noise. Let's just work on this little piece over here, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, this has been very good. I guess the last thing we should just talk about is the private Facebook group that comes with the course, right?
Yes.
Only students are there. Actually, I think only half the students are signed up, but you all can if you're there. That's a place where people post interaction. People are posting their spreadsheets now. Do you find that an interesting place to go and I know you've been responsive to others, so I appreciate that.
I do. It's like-minded individuals working towards the same goal, and we can all learn from each other. And people use. I saw some of the spreadsheets also,
Yeah.
and I can incorporate some of the criteria into what I'm doing.
Yeah. And I really love people talking about making their first offers, maybe getting their first deals. We've seen people really take action, which is that's I get the biggest kick out of people taking real action. So that's a
Yeah,
great feeling.
absolutely.
Very, very cool, man. Well, I'd be remiss since I have you on your Facebook feed. You seem to have a lot of people poking fun at Crocs. Do you want to tell me the story about this Crocs thing?
Okay, this is the story. I used to wear tennis shoes long time ago, but having served in the Navy for 24 years, doing deployments, I wore boots,
Yeah.
and that's a lot of steel toe boots. There's a lot of wear and tear on your body. And the first pair of Crocs I bought was probably about 10 years ago. And when I put them on, it was the most comfortable shoe that I ever had. And from that point on, slowly but surely, I noticed that all the regular shoes that I had found its way to the storage, and I wear Crocs just about every day. When serving in the Navy, when I was off work, the boots came off, the Crocs came on, and so it's comfortable for me.
There you go. Well, find what's comfortable and use it. Again, thank you for your 24 years of service. That is very admirable. And thank you for giving me
Thank
your
you.
time this morning, Cory.
Absolutely.
All right, man.